Good evening, folks. Thank you for joining me for Constellation Tour number 64. Tonight we're going to talk about Corvus, the Crow. Corvus is a small constellation in the South Celestial Hemisphere, located just south of Virgo. It's best viewed between April and June. So we have Stellarium here set up for June the 1st, 2021 at about 10 p.m. Now, Corvus is below the celestial equator, so it is probably better viewed from an equatorial region or even the southern celestial hemisphere. But it is visible from northern latitudes. So we've got our software set up for St. Louis, and Corvus the Crow is a very compact, small constellation, but it is distinct and quite easy to find, actually. So we have Stellarium set up for moderate light pollution with a 60-degree true field of view, which simulates the night sky by the unaided eye. So if you were outside looking south on the 1st of June from mid-northern latitudes, this here simulates your night sky. So let's get oriented with the southern sky and find Corvus the Crow. You see this bright star right over here in the southeast? That is Antares rising. That's the heart of Scorpius. And if you look over just to the right of it, looking almost due south, you'll see this very distinct square here that looks very much like the keystone of Hercules. That is Corvus the Crow. So let's turn on our constellation lines. And let's look a little bit more to the west here. And you'll see that Corvus crater and sextans are all just above the very long and large constellation of Hydra, the water snake, which we reviewed at our last constellation tour. Corvus is this small constellation right here. Although it is much smaller than Hydra, it's actually easier to find, simply because the 4 stars are so distinct. So let's take a look at the boundaries. And you'll see that Corvus is just this small area of sky right here, not too much larger than the actual square of stars. So let's look at the mythical figures. And you'll see that Corvus the Crow is depicted here as a crow with the 4 stars here. These top 2 stars are the wing, and this one over here is one of the feet, and then this one here in the lower right corner is the eye. And that's Epsilon Corvi. And the foot here is Beta Corvi. And then the wing is Delta and Gamma Corvi. And Delta is one we're going to look at in a little bit because that's actually a double star. Okay. The one up here in the upper left corner is Delta Corvi. And you'll see that even by naked eye, you might be able to just make out that there are 2 stars here. There's Delta and Eta Corvi. So that's not a true double. That's actually 2 distinct stars, but they do appear as a distinct double in the sky. So let's have a look at Delta Corvi through the finder. Now here, this one up here is Eta, and this is Delta. So Delta Corvi itself is a double star, so let's see if it splits in the software. It doesn't, although it is listed here in Stellarium as having a separation of 24 arc seconds. So you should be able to split that with a medium to high power eyepiece. And I'm looking at Delta Corvi here through a 9mm Teleview Delight eyepiece, and it's not showing a split here, but it does list it with a separation, so you should be able to split it. This is a 3rd magnitude star. And actually, all 4 of these are probably in the 2nd to 3rd magnitude range. See, delta is 2.9, gamma is 2.5, epsilon is magnitude 3, and beta is magnitude 2.6. So they're all in the 2nd and 3rd magnitude range, which makes them really stand out from even a suburban sky. Let's venture to a dark site, shall we? And now we can see many, many more stars. And even in this case, Corvus does stand out. This bright one here to the upper left of Corvus is the bright star Spica, or Alpha Virginis. So that's another way you can make your way to Corvus. Remember, you can use the arc of the Big Dipper's handle to Arcturus and then speed on to Spica. So there are no Messier objects within the boundaries of Corvus, but there are 2 interesting NGC galaxies, and taken together, they are known as the antennae. They are NGC 4038 and NGC 4039. So let's have a look at NGC 4038. And you can see that NGC 4038 is also a Caldwell object. It's Caldwell 60, and it's just to the right of the right side of the square of Corvus. So let's look at NGC 4038 through the finder. And you can actually see it here. Let's have a look at it through an eyepiece. I'm going to go for a lower power eyepiece. We're going to use a 24mm panoptic, and you can see the 2 interacting galaxies known as the antennae, NGC 4038, and that's probably this one, and then NGC 4039 is probably that one. Well, let's not guess. Let's make sure that's the case. Yeah, it barely moved. So they are right next to each other in the same field of view. Caldwell 60 and Caldwell 61, or the antennae galaxies. This is an 11th magnitude object located 91 million light years from Earth. So this concludes my tour of Corvus the Crow tonight. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Good night and good seeing.